So last night, I put a super chat out to both. It's basically the same super chat to both Solid Monster and Just Alex of Alex's World. Here on YouTube. Solid Monster, of course, the Solid Monster sounds off. And basically, it was a super chat where I kind of talked about the fact that if you paid close attention to how the entrances of all the participants at WrestleMania happened, you would notice there's a pattern. And that pattern is the fact that, with a few exceptions here and there, that most of the people that came out first lost to those that came out last. Yeah, think about that. There are only 3 exceptions that I know of where that didn't happen. 3. Those exceptions were Austin Theory coming out before John Cena, Rhea Ripley coming out before Charlotte, and then last night Edge coming out before Finn Balor. Those 3 came out first and won their matches. Rhea beating Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title, Austin Theory successfully defending his U.S. title against John Cena, and then Edge beating Finn Balor, the Demon Finn Balor, in Hell in a Cell. Those are the only exceptions. Every other match outside of that, everybody that came out first lost, including Cody Rhodes in the main event. And to me, it's like, when are people going to wake up and realize that when you see, especially during these big time events, whether it's WrestleMania, whether it's the epilogue of WrestleMania, Backlash in May in Puerto Rico, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, whatever, when is it going to get to a lot of people's heads that, when you see, certain people coming out first, that unless, a wrestling company, and there are wrestling companies that will, throw you for a loop, throw you a curveball, there's no doubt. But when are people going to learn that a majority of the time, those that come out first during these wrestling matches, whether it's WWE, Impact, AEW, MLW, New Japan, when are they going to learn that those people coming out first, again, with a few exceptions here and there at times, when are they going to learn that those people always are going to lose? Think about this. Think about this. It don't matter whose regime, creatively WWE or AEW or MLW or New Japan or Impact are under, okay? It don't matter who's creatively booking things behind the scenes in those promotions. Traditionally, every time somebody comes out first, with a few exceptions at times, that person loses. Think about this. Think about this. Going back to what I was saying. Let me get my glasses back on here for a moment. Going back to what I was saying here. Think about this. The only exceptions at WrestleMania this weekend were Theory, Rhea, and Edge. Those were the only exceptions. Everybody else, from Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, and the Viking Raiders in the men's showcase, lost their match to the Street Profits, who came out last. Logan Paul, despite how you might feel about him, and despite the help he got from KSI and stuff, Logan Paul came out first. Guess what happened? He lost to Seth Rollins, who came out second. Damage Control, they came out first. Who did they lose to? Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch, who came out second. Dominic Mysterio. There were some people that were hoping Dominic would probably win, but we knew Ray was going to win, but it wasn't because it was his Hall of Fame weekend. No. It's because also Ray came out second. See what I'm saying? You kind of start seeing a pattern here, right? And then, of course, you had the Usos losing to Zayn and Owens, which a lot of people knew was going to happen. But how is it also predictable if you didn't know? They came out first. Owens and Zayn came out second. Kind of see the pattern? See what I'm saying? And then when you look at last night, ladies and gentlemen, Omos came out first. Brock Lesnar came out second. Again, see the pattern? And then the women's tag team showcase, you had Liv, Raquel, Natalia, Shotzi, Chelsea, and Sonya come out first. Who came out last? Ronda and Shayna. Who won? Ronda and Shayna. Then you had Drew McIntyre and Sheamus come out first, and then you had Gunther come out last, and who won that triple threat for the Intercontinental title, one of the classic Intercontinental title matches they've seen at Mania in a long time. Who won that? Gunther. Because why? He came out last. And then Bianca and Asuka. Who came out first? Asuka. Who came out second? Bianca. Now I will admit that we didn't know the real story behind one of those diva dance girls from Compton, what they had to go through that morning. So prayers go out to that little girl and what she's had to go through. Just know that her mother was looking down on her, being proud of what she was, proud of her being part of all this. So prayers go out to her. But still, even with that exception, if you will, and I say it with all due respect, even with that being the exception, and even if she didn't have the dance group as well, even if Bianca didn't have the dance group, which pretty much gave away the fact that she was going to win anyway, because that's basically what WWE promotes her as being looked up to these little girls looking up to her and all that. Even without the dance group, Bianca came out second, and you knew, whether or not without the dance group, she was going to win. And guess what? She did. And again, I think the dancing, the young girls, the diva dance group from Compton kind of gave it away too. But still, you knew somehow she was going to win because she came out second. And then, of course, like I said, the main event, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. Roman came out second. Cody came out first. And, again, even though I said it was a toss-up and everything, because they could have gone either way here, they went with Roman. You kind of see what I'm saying? You kind of understand what I'm getting at? There is a pattern. There is a method, if you will, to the madness known as WWE. And not just WWE, AEW, MLW, New Japan, Impact, you name it. Any wrestling promotion you follow, AAA, whatever. Any wrestling promotion you follow, local or international or national, whatever, most of them will go down that traditional path of the winner is coming out last, with a few exceptions here and there. Those exceptions could be because, hey, we may not have this person around for a while, or hey, we want to push this person up to the next level and all that. Those might be the exceptions, and that's it. That's it. But, outside of that, we all know a majority of the time, if you pay real close attention, that everybody that comes out second is always going to be the winner. Like I said, there are a few exceptions. I mean, if there's one thing I will give AEW that they have over WWE at times, is they do know how to mix it up. They do. They do know how to mix it up to where it makes it look like the person that comes out second would be the obvious winner, but then they don't end up winning. I'll give them that. I give them that. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of us, will agree. That, long story short, I think a lot of us will agree that every time, depending on the event, maybe the circumstance, whatever, I think a lot of us will agree that most of the time, the person that comes out second ends up being the winner. Or they come out last, depending on if it's a multi-person or multi-team match, they end up being the winner. And that's a fact. Think about it this way. Go back to War Games. Who came out first, I think? Who was the first ones out, I believe? Was it the Bloodline? Well, there's your exception if they were. Believe it or not, I haven't seen War Games yet. I still have to go back and watch that. But who came out first? Was it the Bloodline? Because if it was, there's an exception. If it wasn't, and they came out last, guess what? There's your answer. So yeah. My advice, being a longtime fan myself, is this. Whatever you do, whatever you do, don't get upset at something, because you feel it should have gone this way and this was the best opportunity to do it. You have a right to do that, and there are justifications sometimes to feel that way. But as a fellow longtime wrestling fan that's been watching for over 30 years, 30 years, guys, that is saying something. Or at least a little. Well, yeah, a little, yeah. I would say over 30 years. Yeah, over 30 years, and that is saying something. I'm going to tell you right now. When you see certain individuals coming out, first, always put it in the front of your mind that if someone, like let's say with the triple threat intercontinental title match from last night, if you would have put it right in the front of your head that when you saw Drew come out and then Sheamus come out, and then Gunther, the first thing that should have went through your mind is Gunther's winning. That's the first thing that should have gone through your mind. And that's what happened. Same thing if you were supporting Logan Paul. Logan Paul, you should have known when he was the first one out, he was going to lose. And that's what happened. Again, like I said, there are exceptions here and there. There's no doubt. But the next time you watch a pay-per-view, which I think the next major pay-per-view outside of WWE is Rebellion for Impact Wrestling, just keep in mind when you watch that when you see somebody come out first, that there's a good chance that person coming out first is going to lose. Now, again, could, they surprise you? Absolutely. With the Steve Maclin-Kushida match for the vacant world title, if Maclin comes out last, there's a good chance Macklin's winning. End of the story. Or with the triple threat, or with the match for the knockout women's title, whether it's for a vacant title or a triple threat with Mickey defending. If Deonna Purrazzo comes out last, there's a good chance Deonna Purrazzo's winning. Or if Jordynne Grace comes out last, there's a good chance Jordynne Grace is winning. Same with Mickie James. If Mickie James comes out last, there's a good chance she's winning. You know what I'm saying? Or, in this case, you look at the hardcore war match we're going to have between Bully Ray's team and Tommy Dreamer's team. If Bully Ray's team enters last, Bully Ray's team most of the time, not most of the time, but there's a good chance that a majority of people are going to be betting on Bully Ray's team to win because he and his team are coming out last. Or if Tommy's team comes out last, a lot of people will put money on Tommy's team. You see what I'm saying? And it's like with Trey Miguel, the X Division champion. I don't know what match he has at Rebellion. I don't know what his match is at Rebellion. I have to check that. Hold on. Oh, wait. Computer's doing some loading. Don't know why it likes to do that at times. But let's see. Impact. Let's see. Rebellion. Here we go. Just looking it up for guys. Okay. So, right now we only have 3 matches. We only have 3 matches right now. But yeah, whatever other matches are announced and everything, I can guarantee you we're going to have an X Division title match. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is, let's say Trey Miguel comes out last and his opponent comes out first, or opponents come out first, depending on what kind of match he's in. There's a good chance Trey Miguel will be winning. If Trey Miguel comes out first, there's a good chance he won't be winning. Or if he's in a multi-defense match and he's like the second or third person out, then there's a good chance he could, lose. But if he, like I said, they don't, throw you a curveball. But if he's the last one out, he wins. Depending if it's one-on-one or a multi-man match, whatever, he's the last one out, guarantee he wins. If he's the second or third or even the first one out, good chance he might lose unless they throw you a curveball. You see what I'm saying? So, again, Rebellion's upcoming. That's the next major pay-per-view, outside of WWE. And we know Backlash is several weeks later. We know that. And we know that Double or Nothing is towards the end of May. We know that. So the thing is, what I'm getting at is when you watch some of these matches at Rebellion, you watch some of the matches leading up to Double or Nothing on AEW for Dynamite or Rampage, or if you pay to watch the Honor Club and to watch Ring of Honor every week, I want you to pay close attention. I want you to pay close attention to who comes out first, who comes out second, and usually you're going to get your answer as to who loses, who wins, and most of the time the person that comes out first, unless they give you, an exception here and there, usually that means that person's going to lose. End of story. And I hate to be the one that breaks it to you like that, but that's the truth. And you can't tell me you did not notice that, at WrestleMania. For those of you that were attending WrestleMania live in Los Angeles, you can't tell me you didn't notice that either. And those of you that are going to be attending Rebellion at the sports complex or the entertainment complex in Toronto, you can't tell me you won't notice it either. And any of you that attended all these wrestling events across the greater Los Angeles area, you can't tell me you didn't notice something similar during those events too. I mean, yeah, you all had exceptions, and we'll probably have more exceptions in future events, like Rebellion and Double or Nothing. But still, you cannot tell me you didn't sense that kind of a pattern. You didn't see that pattern take place, like we saw at WrestleMania. So I'm just letting you know, next time you watch WWE, like tonight Raw after Mania, or the SmackDown after Mania, or heck, if you watch Backlash, pay close attention. Because if somebody comes out first, and then the opponent comes out second, especially if it's a championship match, there's a good chance the person that comes out second's winning. So, just, again, I hate to be the one that breaks it to you, but most of the time that seems to be the case, and not just WWE, but all pro wrestling. And which is why I think a lot of people kind of complain about wrestling a lot, because they see that, they notice that pattern, and to them it makes it too predictable as to who's going to win. So, let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment below. Love to hear from each and every one of you on this. And until next time, I'm out.